I'm Dr. B with today's Hope Nugget, and I'm asking you a question today. And that question is, what is too hard for God? The answer is nothing. Nothing is too hard for God. In this season of your life, in this new year, in this season of your life, as you are looking at what's ahead of you, ask yourself the question, what is too hard for my God? And the answer is no. The answer should always be no. Nothing is too hard for God. For the Bible says in Matthew 19:26, for with God all things are possible to him that believes. It's something about believing. When you believe, God says there's no other way that you can even please him except through faith. He says anyone who comes to him must believe that he is, and that he's a rewarder of those who diligently seeks him. I'm here to tell you, nothing is too hard for God. What are you facing? What are you facing in this season of your life? What are you going through that you've been thinking, I don't even know if God can come through. I don't know how God's going to do this. I just can't figure this one out. I mean, it's just hard. It's overwhelming. Are you in a situation where it feels overwhelming? Are you in a situation where it seems impossible? Are you in a situation that if God doesn't come through, then you don't know what in the world is going to happen? I'm here to tell you, nothing is too hard for God. Luke 1:37 reminds us, it says, for with God, nothing shall be impossible. For with God, nothing shall be impossible. With people, it might not work out. With people, it might fail. It might just literally fizzle at the end. But with God, nothing shall be impossible. From the biggest dreams to the most desperate situation, God is able. He is able to do even exceeding abundantly above all that you can ask or even think. Nothing is too hard for God. You ought to tell yourself that today. Nothing is too hard for my God. Why don't you say that? Nothing is too hard for my God. Come on, my God, the real God, the true God, the living God. Come on, the holy of holy God, the Alpha God, the Omega God, the beginning God, the end God, the first God, the good shepherd, the bright and the morning star, the rose of Sharon. Come on, King of kings and Lord of lords, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God who sits high, the God who sits high, the God who's omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, who sees everything, who knows everything, who is all powerful. That God. Nothing is too hard for him. I don't care what you're going through, what you're dealing with, what you are facing. Nothing is too hard. Whether it's financial, whether it's relational, whether it's some kind of sickness, whether it's a situation on your job you cannot figure out. Nothing is too hard for God. Get that in your heart. Get that in your spirit. Let your faith be reignited. Let your faith be stirred up. Let your hope be stirred up. Come on, because nothing is too hard for your God. Nothing is impossible for God. Nothing is just too big for him. He is a big God. He's the sovereign God. He's the creator of the universe. He hung the stars and the moon and the galaxies. Come on. He is the God who did all in 6 days and then took a rest on the seventh day. He is the God who is the creator of men. He blew breath into men. That same God knows you, knows your situation, knows what you need. And if you will turn to him and not from him, turn to God and not away from God during the season that you're going through that may be a little overwhelming. It may be scary. It may be stressful. It may be anxious. You may be weary. But just when you thought you were down for the count, your God came through. Didn't he come through before? Hasn't he come through before? Check his record. He is always faithful. He does not know how to be anything else other than faithful. Be encouraged in this nugget to know that nothing is hard for our God. Nothing is too hard for our God. Well, that's today's Hope Nugget. I hope you received today's Hope Nugget. And I always love to say, in a world full of darkness, there is a reason to have hope. You know what I want you to do? Hold on to hope like it's a piece of rope. Until next time.